Okay. Well, good afternoon and a warm welcome to you all for our From the Artist talk. My name is Nina Shadforth, Senior Curator for Collections, and I'm your host for today. Before we begin the talk, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting today, Kabi Kabi and Jinabara peoples, and whose lands and waters we all now share. I also pay respect to elders past and present and would like to extend my respects to any First Nations listening in today. Our guest artist today is contemporary-based artist based in Hervey Bay, whose work is often self-narrative, recording her daily experiences, working in coloured pencil, digital drawing and animation. She graduated from La Trobe University Bendigo with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in 1996 and has been a finalist in a number of art prizes and drawing awards, and also as a multiple finalist in the Duritz Art Prize in Gympie and, of course, our own Sunshine Coast National Art Prize, along with residencies and commissions within Queensland. So please join me in welcoming one of the exhibiting artists from the Wildflowering by Design exhibition, Emma Thorp. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Nina. It's lovely to be here.
Great to have you. And I like to start at the very beginning when, art first came into your life. Were you always creative inclined or interested in art? Was it something surrounded you, or was it something that came later in life?
Yeah, it's something I've always had an interest in. I've always been a creative. My mother was a crafter, and so I was around lots of materials and things growing up. But other than that, there's no sort of artistic sort of influences in our family. So it came a little from left field, where I think most artists reside. Yeah, I've always been interested in it. And I remember like meticulous drawing, and it's sort of still sort of carried through that sort of mark making sort of work that I like to do.
Yeah, and I can see you are surrounding yourself in an environment that encourages creativity. That's your studio that you're sitting in?
Well, it should be my studio, but I've outgrown it. So this is where I store all my equipment now, and now I practice on the kitchen table, which is really central and lovely as well, because I'm available all the time to the kids, and I'm in the thick of it. I'm not sort of separated, which is lovely.
Oh, that's good. And, the kitchen table is quite a common place for artists to work, isn't it?
Yeah, I think especially female artists, because we're sort of combining, all these areas of our lives, and to be able to create and feel like you're mothering and you're taking care of your family. It's hard to remove yourself totally from the day to day. So it's fits and spurts as they fit around daily life.
I was going to ask you how you juggle that. So it's stop start kind of scenario, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I realized before you have children, you feel like you've got plenty of time, but maybe because you've got plenty of time, you don't take advantage of all of it. Whereas when you're a parent and a child's napping, or two children are napping, or they happen to be engaged in other activities, I found that rather than waiting until I had large blocks of time, I would squeeze. I squeeze things in so that I give myself those little boosts and a respite from the demands of motherhood. So just investing those little creative moments throughout the day has really helped me.
Yeah. And just sort of thinking in my head, if we talk about, I'd like to go on to talking about the works that you have in the Wildflowering by Design exhibition, one of which is quite a large drawing, work on paper, about 4 meters, and then, an accompanying work installation of 9 sort of smaller circular panels. So just thinking about you working on your kitchen table, how did you manage working on that large work on paper, surrounded by all the goings on by family,
Yes, yes.
and
Yeah, it was
how
quite
that
fun.
work survived?
Some great photos of it, actually. The table, my husband made the table. So the table's 2.4 meters long, which is fantastic and it's always full of projects, or a project family. My
Uh-huh.
husband's IT, and so is my daughter. So there are soldering things up one end, and I've got the rest of it, and my son will have all his basketball gear. So it's always full. But
That's a good co-working space.
yeah, it's lovely. But we had to wheel it out into a different position and add another table onto the
Hmm.
end. So it was this big long. It's kind of a bit of a performance piece, and I think the kids really enjoy watching me work,
Yeah.
and the spectacle of some of it, because some of it's ridiculous. The scale of things, like, and I'm taking over the whole house. Is stuff in the kitchen, it's in the bathroom, all over. So they enjoy
I
that
love
sort
it.
of novel,
Yeah.
large scale of things. Yeah, so
And
that long piece, and I used to make all the circles, I used like their cups. So that's what the circle, so I had everything. If the kids try and find a cup, it's got paint and pencils in it and brushes and inks and things. So yeah, that sort of novelty, it was really fun.
and so that work is called Poona Wallam, and the installation panels are Wallam jewels. So um, can you tell us about your first foray into the wildflowering world, and like how it began, what inspired you, and
Yes, well, I was contacted by Sue Davis about this exhibition, and I loved the idea of it. As I'm not a native to Queensland, so I wasn't aware of the wildflowers, but I don't think even many of the people who live here forever know that they're there. So the idea of that hidden secret, finding all these little treasures, was very interesting to me. Um, the initial exhibition was scheduled to be on at the Bundaberg Regional Art Gallery at the same time as a Florence Broadhurst exhibition about her incredible geometric wallpapers. So
yeah.
I liked the idea of tying that theme into my artwork, and I view that landscape as like a horizontal piece of wallpaper.
Hmm.
And I was trying to sort of uh, carry the idea that we don't see a lot of the landscape. It's in the background, and it is like wallpaper to our lives, and we don't investigate it. It just happens to be there. So
Yeah.
I liked that idea. So the landscape that's in that piece is actually, if you stood in the middle of the first reserve that Sue Davis took us to,
Yeah.
that is the landscape in 360. So if you put that piece of paper
Oh,
in a
yes.
circle, you could stand in it and you can see the whole sort of scope of the space, which was scrubby and awful. And I would not have known, like, I would have driven past it every time. It's under some power lines. It's like a
It's
fire trail. They mow it. Nobody,
yeah.
it's not revered. And nobody, really knows it's there until somebody shows you. So
Yeah.
we
That's the
all
special thing about it, I guess. But you're
incredible,
right.
incredible.
It's
So
you
we
would
went
drive
out
straight past it.
to Puna, and she told us where to stop, and we're like, "Is this it? Where are we?" Right? And then she led us through, and we followed her beautiful red hat, and she led us through, and she had all these stories, and she knew the names of everything, and the idea that the closer you look, the more you find, and in my own life, I do that all the time. I try and embrace that, um, sort of celebrating small moments, and that's what these
Mm.
were in, like, floral form. They were beautiful little jewels. So we
Yeah.
called them jewels in the tableaus, in the 9 circles. Um, and those circles are to mirror the circles in the large work. So
Okay.
we
Yeah.
use when you get close to the large work, you see all the little detail work that's in there. So everything that makes up
Beautiful.
that landscape. And there's circles here. The idea is that those circles down the bottom could be transplanted into the circles at the top. So they sort of mirror each other.
Yeah,
And I
it's an
work a lot
exquisite work.
digitally. So that was a really nice way for me to sort of combine a couple of mediums that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, no, it's congratulations on that work. It's a striking work
Thank
when you
you.
walk into the space. So
Oh,
it's
great. I don't. I'm quite self-centered in my work, in that it revolves around myself and my family. So
mm,
thinking was quite a departure for me too, and coming up with something to suit a theme, really refreshing and like a really,
yeah.
yeah, a
And
bit of a challenge as well. So
yeah, I was just going to say, so that not your normal way of
right,
working
right,
creates a bit of a challenge, but I think
yeah,
you know, it's certainly been a successful um project for you. You know, when you look at your work and you say your work is more self-centered, so you know, going through the visuals on your Instagram, it is day-to-day depictions. And so I wanted to kind of segue into there was a project you did where it was a whole year's worth every day of drawing, you know, doing a visual recording and a statement. So can you unpack that for us? Like, what was the impetus for that, and what did you end up with at the end,
yeah. It's a
aside from
really
the
interesting
365
project.
drawings?
Yeah, well, that's right. So I find a lot of the work I do deals with time, and I'm guessing a lot of people's does as well. So I've found with my digital work that I was chronicling a lot, and I was documenting lots of daily events up prior to 2022 when I did that year,
Mm,
and I was like, I'm doing 4 or 5 of these a week. I wonder if I could push myself to produce one every day.
yeah.
So, it still was a push. It
Mhm.
basically doubled the output for that sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
you are doing other things in between. That's not the only work you're creating, but that daily work made my process more efficient as well.
Yeah.
You get really,
Okay.
you get really confident in what you're doing. So
Yeah.
works that would take, 4 or 5 hours at the start, by the end, maybe 2 hours, so that
Yeah.
was nice. Really buckling down and learning a technique was lovely. And it really it evolved into like a body of work that we ended up exhibiting at Gympie, and it was called Fleeting Memories, because it's very small moments, and it's mostly celebrating wins, or acknowledging the humor in
Hmm.
not so successful moments. I try and keep the work that I do very light, especially because it's about my family. And I
Yeah.
don't want my kids to see anything that would knock their confidence or that they would be upset about. So they see me
Yeah.
try these images, and and, um, unless if it's something quite awkward, I will ask permission. And a few times they've said no, but usually they're quite fine with the process as well.
Did you
Um,
have a backup when they said no?
yeah, I would just make another work, or I would
Yeah.
come on it from a different angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I wasn't. I'm going to say in early works that I've done when they were younger, I wasn't as conscious of that as maybe I felt like I could have been, and they maybe didn't have the words to express anything at that point either. But as they're becoming teenagers, I don't want them to begrudge me doing things, and I want them to be empowered by the work I do.
Yeah.
Um, so I came away with a body of work that we did exhibit like a calendar. So that was really fun. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And when we were putting it together to exhibit, I realized that even though most of those images, sorry, have an accompanying small story as well. But I realized there were things that I'd forgotten, even though I'd experienced it, written about it, and drawn about it. I would
Yeah.
still have images come up and go, oh, yeah. I totally forgot all about that. So that idea that these, quite often we focus on the negative things that happen to us. Or I feel like you can remember, you know, an accident you had 20 years ago, but you don't remember what you got for your birthday last year. Like we don't focus
The
on
impact, isn't it?
positive
It's
things,
different.
all those little things. And I think when you see them all in a body of work, you see all the wins you had throughout the year, even if they're small. And I found that really empowering. So, and at the end of that exhibition, I had the idea to give all the work away. So anybody who came into the gallery and saw the work, if they responded to a particular story, they could write a little note about why they liked a certain
Oh,
piece, and they could take it home at the end of the exhibition. So
that's a
that's
lovely
like
idea.
another, you know, my memories, you know, were being taken away, but like revered by someone else. So it's a really sort of nice full circle.
Yeah, that's a lovely idea. And yeah, I guess as you say, you know, the negative seems to have a much bigger impact in your memory
Yes, yeah,
than
yeah.
than the day to day. So talk us through like the daily practice, knowing that, you know, there were young kids sort of
Well,
demanding your
they're
attention a lot
older.
of the
They are
time.
getting older now, so they're like they're teens now. You know, still you fit it in with everything else. You know,
Yeah.
I am artist in resident at their school, so I go in there a few days. My husband has his own business, so I do things for him, and then I've got the house to look after. You know, everything every mum does. You know,
Yeah.
so many tasks. So I think that by doing it every day, it wasn't a compulsion, but it was a healthy habit, and I
Yeah.
was comfortable doing it. It's like, you know, walking my dogs. You know, I when I don't do it, you get that, you know, that unease, and you're like, oh, I'd really like to go out. So that same habit I got with the work, digital work for
Mm.
me, incredible. Um, I just can take this anywhere.
Yeah.
So if I'm
Yeah.
waiting for someone having an appointment, or there used to be multiple pickup times at school, I just would draw in the car. So nothing felt like a burden, you know, when the
Yeah.
kids were really small and they wouldn't sleep, but they were happy for me to just be in the room while they were slowly, I was on the computer. So
Oh,
I could draw them sleeping. So
yeah.
for me, I've found that to be quite a breakthrough. Because there's no pack up either. You
Yeah.
just need
Yeah. No, it's very
to turn it off
portable.
and then you can start again later. It's all there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, that's been a wonder. And I do balance that with my drawing practice, because I find that puts you in a different headspace than the digital. But even
Yeah.
if it's just recording things so they don't slip away, it's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah. And do you prefer one over the other or
No,
no?
no. But I do. If I do too much digital, I feel the need, a craving to do that sort of the pencil work, especially that sort of fine work that I love doing.
Yeah. Um, and so I just wanted to touch on the tertiary education where you were at Bendigo and you did a Bachelor of Fine Arts,
Yes,
and then the time frame between finishing there and then having your first exhibition.
right.
Uh, so
It,
what was that journey, you know?
well, I grew up in in western suburbs of Melbourne, where an arts career wasn't even really a thing. I don't know where I had where I got the nerve to go to art school, really. But I was just like, no, this is what I'm going to do. So yeah, and I loved it, and I loved
Mm,
it. My main focus was printmaking, which I couldn't really translate into everyday life the way I wanted to. Like
yeah.
screen printing and lithography and things were my sort of really favorite sort of areas, which interestingly mirror pencil drawing and
Mm,
computer work, which is flat blocks of color in layers. So that was the
yes.
way that I found to translate those sort of things. I I didn't. I mean, I've always created and lots of journaling, works here and there, but until my kids went to school, I
Yeah.
didn't get the time. And I think you find this with a lot of female artists. They really don't have the time to
Mm.
commit. Um, Art practice in
And
some ways is quite a selfish pursuit, and which contradicts motherhood, which is a selfless one.
yes, yeah.
Um, the my I did have some exhibitions early on, but I just didn't really have the confidence either in
Yeah.
myself. I think it took having children. And I've talked about this a fair bit. I have a son who was premature and was in hospital a lot and has
Mm.
ADHD.
Oh,
And I've I've I found a real strength and a tiger mother that I wasn't aware that I had. Um, Being his advocate,
yeah.
controlling, having everything organized for his medical appointments, pushing for him to be mainstreamed and in different scenarios. And
Yeah.
I do think that that process really strengthened me and gave me
Mhm.
confidence to advocate for myself as well.
It's
So
often a hard thing to do.
yes, yes. But as soon as he started prep, I remember writing down everything that I wanted in this exhibition. The first one I did, which was called Early, which
Yeah.
documented the first 8 years of his life.
Wow. And so, for someone, if you're walking into that exhibition, what did you see? What was in that exhibition?
It's a very structured, formal exhibition. Everything was in portrait format, and there were 30 identical sized images. So visually for me, very pleasing, like
Yeah.
patterned and in a nice grid. And I wanted that sort of consistency visually. That's very, very attractive
Mm.
to me. The images were broken into three categories, and the first one was hospitalization.
Yeah.
He was in hospital, and sort of the push and pull of the family dynamics during that time. It's a very stressful
Mm.
time for families. And I also had a young daughter, so that's the dynamics between them and the guilt that you're not helping everybody as much as you could. And then we went
Yeah.
into sort of a diagnosis sort of phase, which was working out what we were dealing with. Like
Yeah.
we had symptoms, we had behaviors that were really, really problematic and stressful,
Mm.
but we didn't really understand where they were coming from, whether it was the
Mm.
prematurity or something else going on. We didn't know. So there
All
was
new
that sort of,
territory.
yeah. And then the final bit was um, acceptance and sort of understanding and really his growth and development and how successfully he was sort of navigating his little young life. So
Oh,
in ended up tried to be on a very positive note. I think
yeah.
that quite often it's talked autism, especially in a very poor light, and ADHD.
Yeah.
So it sort of described my journey of understanding how to best help him.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful, a very empowering exhibition.
Sounds like it.
Um, People who saw it, there were a lot of people who had very similar stories or had birth trauma stories, things that, especially elder women who never talked about,
Yeah.
had miscarriages and all sorts of things that people just dismissed at the time, or nobody talked about at the time. So
Yeah.
it's very
Mm.
moving for a lot of people. And also I got in the back of, like, I made a catalogue that has the whole story in there. So there's a digital version of that on my website, but I also got organisations like Carers Queensland and Autism
Yeah.
Queensland to support the booklet. So all their information is in there, and
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, it was a really lovely sort of process that I'm very proud of. Still hard for me to look at.
Yeah, yeah,
And talk about in detail. You get sort of dragged right back to it.
yeah. Well,
But
thank you for sharing that, because
oh
I,
yeah,
I think so, you know, that being your first sort of exhibition that you acknowledge as your first exhibition,
yeah,
aptly called Early. And so that sort of gave you confidence to spring from for future exhibitions. And because
really
I
did.
see you've constantly been exhibiting since, so
Yes,
which
yes.
is really exciting. And
Yeah, it was really like it was at my local regional gallery at Harvey Bay too. So we
yeah,
had a lot of like a lot of lovely local support for that exhibition. And
mm,
Cara Ann Simpson, who's in the Wildflowering by Design, she
yeah,
was the curator there. She came in sort of halfway through the preparation for that exhibition, but she was lovely and supportive and encouraged me to sort of pursue touring it, which I
yeah,
did, which was
fantastic.
yeah, which was an incredible experience again.
Yeah, for your first exhibition too.
Yes,
You
yeah. Well,
know,
I
it's
worked
such
on
a
it for
great,
4 years.
yeah,
Drawing in school hours. And yeah, if you get a chance to see the pictures, they're incredibly detailed, and I do feel like that was me really grasping at trying to have some sort of control over
yeah.
the chaos that I was sort of in at the time. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
It's yeah, art's a great tool, I think,
it really is. Yeah,
for expression and relations.
yeah.
Okay, we're running
Are
out
you
of
getting a wind
time,
up?
so I'm getting the wind up.
Uh,
Um, uh, so just before we go into some questions from the floor, I've noticed there's a lot of images and videos of a beautiful pythons around your place. Is
oh
there
yes, yes.
likely to likely to likely to be some more works about pythons perhaps in your
Well, I'm doing an
practice?
animation at the moment about the
Oh,
python because we've had lots of different experiences this year with the python.
yeah,
Yeah, we relish, we love it.
yeah,
We think it's so fun. I don't know if it's because we're not originally from here, but the
yeah.
novelty of those wonderful big snakes just dropping from the veranda,
Yes.
it's wonderful. And we're on a little, we've got just a little bit of room under the deck. So we don't
Yeah.
get any nasties, nothing that climbs, but we've got a snake sort of highway that's sort of under the veranda. So yeah, we love it, and we really embrace where we live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is leading on to what a current work that you're working on, animation.
Yes,
Are
yes.
you able to share a bit of information about that, or you want to
Oh,
keep that?
I do little micro animations all the time. And
Yeah.
I love the sort of moving image. I love sort of a stop motion, blocky, intentionally flawed human
Yep.
animation. And that's the sort of thing that it takes a long time to do, but I really enjoy them as little sort of keepsakes. I don't even do anything with a lot of them. They just make me giggle. So, if somebody else responds to them, I might enter them somewhere or something.
Yeah.
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 I've just
We'll
bought,
watch.
we've been doing a lot of work on ply, like the work that was in SNAP, that was the shape
Yes.
sort of work. So that's what I'm playing with at the moment. I really like taking drawing off paper and putting it on a new sort of substrate,
Yeah.
which
That
is the
that was
glass.
another one of your striking works. I really I love that work in
Fun.
that
And
showing.
that was a real celebration of living in, southern Queensland, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
No.
jungle.
So yeah, so congratulations on that as well,
Thank
being a
you.
finalist. So I just wanted to run over to our questions from the floor. A question, a comment. Oh, it is too. So I'll just read this comment out. Thanks for sharing your amazing journey and authentic art practice. Art Art for the soul, just beautiful. Well, that's a comment from the floor.
Yes, well.
So before we wrap up, and
Sorry,
I'll
just as
just,
artists, we quite often are just creating in a void,
yeah,
with stuff for ourselves and just putting it out there. So it is lovely to
well, I
see a
think
message of
the
support.
way you share it is really great.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Before we wind up and before I do a bit of spruiking, if you could turn back time and talk to your younger emerging self as an artist, what little gem of wisdom would you share?
I probably would suggest that you document everything. Keep a record of everything because
Yeah.
it all comes back and you use it like, but once it's gone, it's forgotten.
Mm.
That that confidence, I don't think you can. I don't think I could make myself have that at any younger age. So everything I've experienced and lived has become part of my work. So I can't really be upset with that.
Oh, it's good. And do you have a big art dream that you'd like to share?
I don't. I don't. I'm just happy. I'm just happy making stuff. That's the big art dream. I
That
think
you're
that
living it.
yes, yes, giving yourself the time and surrounding yourself with people that embrace that side of you, and you don't feel you don't feel like you have to give up that time to please people. Like they're all happy for you and supporting your journey. That's the goal, to keep creating.
And don't stop.
Don't stop. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Emma, thank you so much for sharing insights about your practice. And if you haven't been into the exhibition Wildflowering by Design at Caloundra Regional Gallery yet, it's running until the 30th of November. It's a beautiful exhibition. It's diverse, and there's so many different perspectives about wildflowers in our regions. It's a very sensitive approach to the environment, so I encourage you to come along and have a look at the show. The workshops have just been very, very popular, and I think we only have two places left for Libby Derham's watercolour workshop on the 19th of November, and that's it. Everything has been snapped up and it's super popular. So
Yeah, her work, I just saw, I went to the exhibition yesterday for I
yeah.
haven't seen it in this latest iteration, and
Ah,
we have a cohort of local artists at each one of these exhibitions. That work by Libby is incredible. It is
yeah.
stunning work. So yeah, if you get a chance to go along to those, I'd be very envious.
Yeah, so there's two places left for that. So get in quick. Um, and you can follow Emma's journey on Instagram and on her website. And I think we can put the links in the chat, can we, Jen?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you can follow Emma's ongoing journey in her creative space. The other thing is this exhibition has a wonderful pop-up merch area, and there's a load of things like tote bags, there's beautiful notebooks, and I'm just going to rummage in here just quickly. Beautiful products like hats that pop out, gift cards, gorgeous tea towels, badges, scarves. There's so many things that you can sort of have a little piece of your own Wildflowering by Design exhibition product. So thank you once again for tuning in or catching up on demand later. Emma, it's been really lovely chatting with you, and love the work in the show. It's just beautiful, sitting alongside a beautiful exhibition curated well, and we look forward to our next From the Artist talk on the 12th of November, and that will be with Gallery Director Joe Duke. So thanks again. Thank you for supporting the arts on the Sunshine Coast, and Emma, go well.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.